going to explore something of the explanation that is set forth by the author in the book, The Secret Doctrine, and then go outside of this with such commentary and verification as is possible. The whole subject is not one that will reveal deeper aspects too easily or too quickly. There is no doubt that basically secret doctrine originated in the esoteric school of Buddhism. About 8 years before he published the work, Madame Blavatsky, while in Ceylon, proclaimed herself to be a Buddhist. In the beginning of parts of her writings, she emphasizes her devotion to Buddhistic principles. It is interesting, however, that her book, her writings, are not based primarily upon the Southern school or the school of the others. It constitutes the most orthodox and definitively the most ancient school of Buddhistic thinking. Madame Blavatsky's attitude towards the entire subject of Buddhism was largely colored by the Mahayana or Great Miracle, which probably was especially close to her thinking because of her natural interest in Tibet and Tibetan philosophy. Actually, the secret doctrine is also a very well annotated work. Many authors have been quoted, paraphrased, or digested, and their books are listed as footnotes or referred to in the text themselves. However, most of the books referred to are of Western origin, and are brought very largely to support or to form useful parallels between Eastern philosophy and Western philosophy. 20 years ago, I attempted a brief summary of the defense of the adept traditions in Western civilization. And in so doing, it became immediately obvious that there is a strong literature relating to this subject, and many information and illusions, which is carefully investigated, will probably add considerably to our appreciation for this phase of esotericism. Madame Blavatsky, in annotating the secret doctrine, therefore leans rather strongly towards familiar texts available to and interpreted to Western thinkers. And doing this, she also calls upon many interesting and unusual phases of what might be termed esoteric philosophy. She gives time and space to the teachings, the doctrines of a number of ancient schools, which have no modern survival in their original forms, although some of them have been revived in one way or another. She gives us primarily of Egyptian metaphysics, of certain symbols and esoteric rites of the Parsis and Zoroastrian of Persia, India. She goes back considerably into the religion of the Greeks and related cultures of the area, and finds support for her basic premises in either all of the religious and philosophical symbols and systems of Asia. therefore confronted with a vast array of material. Much of this material is available in other works. Much of these basic spade work has been done by the time Madame Blavatsky attempted extraordinary cultivation. Known as the character of Doctrine in his own collection, of the veritable lifestyle, the study of the mysteries behind the name of Isis, and other writers, learned and pious, scholarly, mystical, all contributed in one way or another to the metaphysical overtones of the secret doctrine. These are added the scientific findings of the second half of the 19th century, up to the time 1888 when the secret doctrine was first published. This was a century of extraordinary progress, spearheaded by the achievements of men of the caliber of Spencer and Darwin and Huxley. Science was breaking through theological restraint and the fashion of placing secular men in chairs of philosophy and their universities had come to be practiced. Therefore, science was at the threshold of a new development within its own structure, which was to lead inevitably in the direction in which we can now proceed, which was perhaps not quite so evident 80 years ago. In any event, science had ideas, many really interesting positive opinions. And Madame Blavatsky used these so they fitted into the grand pattern in order to prove largely one point, that there was nothing new under the sun so far as knowledge is concerned, and that the discoveries of modern science were for the most part simply justifying the philosophies, religions, and concepts of ancient times. In other words, nearly everything that was coming to be common knowledge in the closing years of the 19th century had been held as secret knowledge for the preceding several thousands of years. And modern research, modern investigation was simply building a scientific foundation under the roof long regarded as veneration and approval by the wisest of mortals. As the term secret doctrine suggests, Madame Blavatsky assumed as a basic premise that there were two concepts of knowledge, one esoteric and the other exoteric. Esoteric knowledge is that which related to the understanding of causes, and most of all, the secret science of the regeneration of man himself. The secret knowledge by which the human being could voluntarily cooperate with the great processes of universal law, which were moving him inevitably toward a state of enlightenment. Therefore, we might say, esoteric knowledge has to do with the primitive, the secret processes, the forms of knowledge, which have been revealed only to the initiates of the temples of old time. The same kind of knowledge of Plato so greatly applauded. And in the search for which he paid thousands of pieces of silver, so promptly destroyed and burned fragments of manuscripts from the ancient Pythagorean institute itself of persona. This secret knowledge, this esoteric phase of knowledge, has to do with the truth of the spiritual revelation which underlies all temporal insight and knowledge. It has to do with traditions which have descended from generation to generation, concealing little symbols, allegories, and secret figures, passed on cryptically and in cipher, passed along also through the most secret methods of all arts and sciences, in such a way that the knowledge itself could be apperceived only by those qualified to receive it. But almost all books, therefore, as Madame Blavatsky points out, the great esoteric book, are unlocked by a key with 7 prongs that must itself be turned 7 times in the lock. This perhaps is an allusion to the 49 gates of the Zohar, the secret Kabbalistic doctrine of Israel. So in these ancient times, symbols held in the greatest fantasy were reserved often at great sacrifice and danger to life itself, in order that the mystery or the secret institutions of knowledge might not be profaned, nor their esoteric tradition lost in the darkness of prevailing ignorance. In the secret doctrine as a book, therefore, we find traces of nearly all of the great systems which we now associate with esotericism. We find traces of Gnosticism, of the Manichaean heresy, which was to have such an important part in the early structure of Christianity. We contact the mystical fraternity of the Essenes. We find ourselves in the sanctuaries of Delphi and in Egypt, in the temples of Thais and Luxor. We find material drawn in the Gnostic Gospel, from the Egyptian Book of the Dead, from the hymns of Orpheus, from the sagas of Amorpha, and from the Kalevala Assemblies. All of these blended together with the great lore and store of Eastern knowledge relating to these subjects, resulted in an amazing pattern, the important part of which was the essential symbol which emerged from the entire project. So out of all of these elements, as the substance of an architectural layer, was fashioned a structure somewhat different from what had previously been available. A structure which seemed to emerge as a new entity of knowledge from the background of a comprehensive survey of the essential beliefs of mankind. In other words, the effort was definitely to restore the original religion of mankind from the ruins and monuments which had survived. Now here the point of deviation with modern thinking is immediately obvious. The modern skeptic does not assume that there was ever a time when knowledge was greater than it is today. Nor does modern man accept the idea that somewhere in the remote past there is a vast array of facts, very secretly, but facts, most of which have not been rediscovered even now, and perhaps wait for a more enlightened time in the future before they make themselves known to mankind. Due to conditions in Western civilization, Western man has always had reluctance in accepting the existence of a metaphysical tradition more authentic than science. He has been inclined to assume that really all so-called secret things were in some ways charlatanism. That secrets were merely superstitions, and that the strange conglomerate of religious symbolism that has descended to us from the past is nothing more nor less than a remnant of ancient lore, which was held in terms from the miraculous philosophic and scientific insight of a higher nature. Western man consequently has assumed that all knowledge is obvious knowledge. He admits that there is still much to learn, but he expects to discover it by scientific means, by research, by laboratory study, by the creation of spaceships and projectiles. He expects to learn more about the moon simply by ultimately getting there. And it has always seemed to him that the search for knowledge must be by obvious means. True, he may have to depend upon mathematics for formulas that are not otherwise conceivable. He must fashion certain hypotheses concerning the infinitely small units of matter. And he may also have to develop hypotheses to explain the infinitely great and vast structures of universal and cosmic existence. But the modern man says, give us time, give us opportunity, and adequate appropriation, and with our own minds we will solve the mystery of the universe. Well, this was the pattern which has descended through Western civilization and has finally reached us today, profoundly influencing our basic attitudes toward reality. We have also come to assume that this is the only valid pattern, and the beliefs of other people who might have thought otherwise were of very little interest or concern to us. Holding our own position, in our minds at least, as being the conquerors of the earth, carrying with us the battle of the world's only true religion, serving the only true system of true knowledge, science, and depending on the advancement of all culture and civilization upon the only valid occupation of man, industry. We have come to the conclusion down through time that there was only Western man with his progress and the rest of the world in the mighty condition of superstition. We also assume that any individual or group of individuals with other attitudes, other basic motivations must be inferior. Their knowledge must be inferior. A man who chooses to be poor must be inferior. This is the basic thing. Of course, on the present condition, if we become poor without choosing to be, then we can still remain superior. But we look upon what are called backward people. And we assume that when we realize that they do not have as large a budget for armament as we have, that all we can have is a certain attitude of pity for these underprivileged ones. So we have no interest in searching in other parts of the world for knowledge. We follow the thinking of a German scientist in the turn of the present century who said that everything before the 19th century was superstition, and every reported bit of knowledge since the beginning of the 19th century revealed in fact. And this, while we don't really make the statement of lively as we used to make it, is more or less the position of the ivory tower educator. We're going to maintain, as long as we can, a completely materialistic attitude toward education. Modern Blavatsky attacked this in the 19th century when it was still in the process of formation as being authority. And not only as being wrong, but as being stupid. And Modern Blavatsky had an excellent vocabulary in which to express himself. He had one of the finest collections of Russian words translated into English profanity that the world had heard for a long time. And he reserved the best of these terms for the self-righteous materialist who was quite certain that knowledge began only with the researches of Charles Darwin. But with this kind of view, we have another point we must mention. Due to this attitude, there have been practically no defense of those forms of knowledge which have been rejected by science. There was no effort to perpetuate the war of old times because no one believed it to be important. If someone like the Grimm brothers or Hans Christian Andersen wanted to write children's stories around magic, mystery, and miracles, that was all right. But for sober people to depart from their mechanistic solutions to everything was simply madness. This meant that while some areas were well documented and well developed and acceptable in the research of knowledge, the failure of transcendentalism was virtually ignored. About the only revival of it that could even be mentioned in the 19th century being that of the Emersonian group of New England transcendentalists. And they were very largely influenced by Oriental philosophy. A study of the books borrowed from the Boston Public Library by Emerson, a list of which, by the way, is in existence, would indicate that this material was derived from the same source, though not nearly as numerous references or as many books available as were used by Madame Blavatsky in the compiling and arranging of the secret doctrine. So, in the late years of the 19th century, esotericism burst upon the modern Western world without precedent, without any adequate foundation in belief. It had no ready accepting audience. It could demand the attention only of a few who had long suspected, but had never been in a position to prove the existence of the traditions which he so clearly and admirably defended. So these factors resulted in the secret doctrine not only as a book being a compilation, but as being a presentation, a birth in later times of material, of reference works, of source ideas, which have been resting in limbo since the beginning of the Christian era, so far as the West was concerned. Now, this means that for a contemporary study of most of the ideas which he used, we have to search elsewhere. In her time, comparatively few Westerners had visited Asia. Those who had were mostly soldiers, missionaries, or merchants. The soldiers would scarcely be considered a prime subject for metaphysical indoctrination, although some of them were remarkably open to new ideas. Merchants had no interest until the second or third generation when Asia developed in their class. And of course, missionaries were there for one purpose only. They would spread their own doctrine and refute as much as they could of any philosophy different from their own. So these early travelers added little to the common interchange of knowledge between East and West. The first great monumental work in this area was the publication of the sacred books of the East under the editorship of Professor Max Muir. For the first time, a vast amount of literature was available in relatively accurate translation. There can always be a certain amount of questions in many of these old works, but the translation is not letter perfect. Certainly bestows a great impression of the ideas, the ideals, the concepts, and the beliefs of many Eastern people. Madame Blavatsky, therefore, must be regarded as a pioneer in the bridging of East-West thinking. Perhaps her own background contributed a great deal to this, for she was in a mysterious way a geographical bridge between East and West, a living bridge between two great blood streams and two great racial patterns. In any event, she became aware and was one of the very few Western persons of her time, with the exception of a few scholars associated with the British government in their compilation of various reports on conditions in Asia. She was one of the very few who ever gave much consideration to the life of over half the world. It has dawned on us since, of course, that Western man is numerically utterly outnumbered by non-Western man. We also realize for the first time, perhaps through Madame Blavatsky's writings, that the East was a great land of culture, that it was a tremendously powerful country, or mass of country, and that it was compiling great libraries while Western man was still gnawing bones in Central European caves. The Eastern culture was infinitely older than Western. It was different because it's objective with it. And because difference is the most confusing of all things to the average person. Western man has never been able to estimate difference without insisting upon qualifying it in terms of superiority or inferiority. We are now in a much better condition than we were 30 years ago to understand the religious, philosophical contribution of Asia to humanity. We are beginning to realize something of what went down and across the great Silk Road that bound China to the throne of the Caesars. We are beginning to know that there was a vast migration of ideas from the East at a time when the average Western historian was utterly unaware of the fact. In fact, in those days, there were no Western historians. For historians also originated in Asia. This discovery of a vast world of ideas, very different from our own, is not essentially incompatible. Ideas which also arose within human beings with essentially the same problem. And it makes no difference whether we deal with Eastern or Western man, we deal with war, we deal with hunger, pain, grief, war, sickness, death. These are shared by all mankind. But Eastern man, attempting to solve the problem, took a different position from Western man. While the West sought to achieve all by conquering all, the East sought to achieve all by conquering self. Here is an entirely different basic perspective. A perspective which turns to the individual with the attitude that it makes comparatively little difference what we know about other things if we remain completely ignorant about ourselves. An Eastern man would never for one moment allow the idea that anatomy, physiology, or even psychology as we know it today, these, according to Eastern man, cannot reveal to the individual the nature of himself. He must go deeper. His self is not mind. His self is not body. He is not ambition. He is not hate. He is not fear. He is not grief. He is something else. And no matter how many of his attributes you use together, you do not discover the man himself. Plato knew this. Pythagoras knew it. Because both of these men were in contact with Asia. In the development, therefore, of her philosophy, we can see what happened to Madame Blavatsky when she reached Asia. When she contacted the two extremes of Eastern thought, the school of the Buddhist errors in Ceylon, and the great system of the Mahayana or great vehicle in Nepal and Tibet. Here you have two extraordinary differences of attitude and relationship. You have here the entire pageantry of man's endless search for the solution to the mystery of himself. Here is a word given to the science of the meaning of salvation. And so a word which pays for this dedication by going around with a white cloth around this waist, whereas we were wearing top hats and frock coats. But what has this to do with the essential matter of things? And here is one of the points that Madame Blavatsky to me always has made most clear. We have mistaken the development of style and fashion and outer convenience. We have mistaken status for knowledge. We have mistaken the advancement and complexities of our luxuries for the solution of problems. Now, 30 or 40 years ago, we could not have convinced people in the West certainly that there was anything wrong with progress. It was doing wonderful things that had already found the way of avoiding measles. But with all this progress, as many of us are reminded to the immediate present, there has been no solution for a common cold. To the Eastern thinker, there is a universe that we know nothing about here, a vast space, an incredible area. Most of all, when Madame Blavatsky reached this area, she found herself in a living situation. She finds herself among living people, living, thinking, practicing, believing, as Western man had 3,000 years ago. The Western man was all gone. It was all buried within the vast project of the extensions of mental knowledge. It was all bound up in the luxuries of printing and the advancements of technological science. But even today, 80 years after the secret doctrine was written, when you step from the surface of the Western Hemisphere to the surface of the Eastern Hemisphere, and even now make this step in 12 or 13 hours, you immediately step into a different time dimension. You step into a world utterly different from everything that is familiar. And while the barrier of language is high, this is by no means the highest barrier. The barrier is a way of life. A way of life so completely different from our own that to us it is little different from a story taken out of the Arabian Nights entertainment. It is hard for us to believe that there exists in the world today 1.5 billion people, not 1.5 million, 1.5 billion, with ways of life whose thoughts, convictions, attitudes, and ideals are comparatively unintelligible to us. And every time we send a diplomat over there, he makes it worse. It is not fair to say, however, that no longer is it impossible to bridge the universe. Travel has opened up these different regions. And the recent pages of history have greatly altered the relationship of these two vast hemispheres. But even today, we are faced with this situation by comparison. A comparison that we have to face, whether we really enjoy it or not. If we look under the surface of Western civilization, what do we find? What is holding it up? No one seems to know. And those who look have not discovered too much of a tangible nature. There is, when you look under the surface of Eastern civilization, what do you find? Everything. Because Eastern civilization is all subsurface, except for a few ports or a few strata in which progress is bringing about the effort to copy Westernization. This copying was slavish up to a few years ago. Now it is no longer slavish. And most Eastern peoples are determined to preserve their own way of life, even if they do take on the more desirable aspects of Western culture. In 1885, in the new year, this great subsurface culture of Asia was not essentially different in any particular from the general concept set forth in the secret doctrine. For in Asia, these things that to us are regarded as metaphysical, esoteric, occult, and improbable are the commonplace, the accepted, the expected, the inevitable. Even today, if you ask the average Hindu whether or not Mahatmas exist, he may, if he has been westernized, hesitate to answer. But it is very rare indeed to have a negative answer. Most likely, he will try to find some way of getting you off in a corner where you can be confidential. And then he will tell you that he does believe that there do exist great saints, wishes, minds, whatever you want to call it, saints of incredible knowledge who still exist and live and labor in remote places, surrounded by disciples. Sometimes these disciples held to their teachers only by telepathic means. When I was in India years ago, I not only found very clear evidence of this, but contacted a number of minors who were disciples of these teachers and were being taught telepathically. This is the commonplace thing. Miracles occur on the street corners. You can see excellent ones almost every day in the park surrounding the Albert Museum, Victoria and Albert Museum in Calcutta. You will find everywhere, in the mountains, in the valleys, a world of people who now, in the 20th century, and then in the 19th century, even more now, were convinced that on the great continent of Asia, God walked with men. You find there the same ancient practices, the same gurus walking along the Indian road, safely men of their disciples who might well repeat and revitalize and reenact the journeys of the sages of 25 centuries ago. Here also, on a little village by the side of a path, an old and wise Indian scholar was delivering his sermon on the Mount. The young fellows gathered reverently at his feet. Here the great education is not in school, but with the Guru in the ashram. It is so today. And each Guru is a link between the Hindu disciple and the great network of mysteries, which in their final end come together in the mysterious palace temple shrine upon the crest of Nile. Everywhere this is real. Not only is it real, but it is sustained by many schools of scholarly people. It is not just the peasant, or the farmer, or the merchant, or perhaps some wandering holy man with an alms bulge that represents this belief. Many of the greatest Indian mystics are university men, holding doctorates in exact philosophies and sciences. Many of them are doctors. Others are lawyers and legislators. But they still follow the ancient way of wisdom. They still believe definitely in the secret sciences and arts of human regeneration. They still believe in rebirth, in karma, in the workings of the law. They still follow the Vedanta system, the Yoga system, and the mysterious Kalachakra of the North. They are still followers of Tantra with its many armed deities. But what we have never realized when we walk by these ancient sanctuaries is that the so-called worshiper of strange gods was not a worshiper at all, but never was, except perhaps a very criminal stratum of the utterly mentally retarded. To nearly all of these people, these images and figures were symbols, embodiments, representations of cosmic principles. And when these followers began to explain the meaning of one of these strange icons that seemed so grotesque to us, he was soon in a rarefied atmosphere where probably the only persons who could follow him would be professors in the Boston Institute of Technology. These people, in describing their abilities and in their processes, went in vast cycles of time, in incredible dimensions of space, and explored with a skill, wisdom, and dedication which we seldom see all of the diversified, almost incomprehensible mysteries of cosmic mind. These people had something that to them was vastly important. They not only had a great philosophic idealism, but to themselves and to almost any informed mind, they were able to present a story so logical, so reasonable, and so apparently irrefutable, that there appears to be, in this concept, a possibility for building a foundation under the metaphysics of Western man, to prove that these ancient beliefs, also delightful, were not stable. I remember discussing the problem with an elderly scholar in Bavaria. This man was not without knowledge of matters that Blavatsky and their work. But the point that he wished to particularly make was a very simple one. He was a good scholar in the Christian Bible, and it was surprising how many Eastern philosophers are very aware of Western theology. And he said one thing that is very difficult for us to understand here is why we draw a date line across to divide the age of miracles from the age of rationalization. Your Messiah healed the sick, raised the dead, walked on water. The general people have not doing this. All these wonderful miracles happened long ago. What is long ago? Is 2,000 years long ago? In the great book of history, it is only these. If the prophet souls could talk to God, if Moses could hear the voice of the Almighty among the clouds and flames of Sinai, and this only happened 3,000 years ago. If the miracles of the first martyrs were true, the age of miracles said, why do you follow Scriptures, every page of which includes the mystical, the miraculous, and to you the unbelievable? Why do you believe your Bible and deny the great body of esoteric knowledge which has to underlie the secret science of miracles? Even these miracles were not performed, and you are the ruler. Or they were performed, and if they were performed, they can always be performed. And if you don't believe this, go to the mountains of North India and see for yourself. There is no break in this tradition. And to these people, the great wonder workers of long ago, the saviors of the Veda, the wonderful magician mystics of legend and lore, and Asia is strangely rich in monuments, each one of which stands witness to some spiritual conviction. Most of all miracles all wonders, all the strange fantasies seem to be of secondary importance in comparison to the one great mystery of mysteries. Man discovering truth as an experience of consciousness. This is the whole process. This is the whole mystery, toward which all other things must naturally be. You must admit, therefore, that Madame Blavatsky was acquainted and well acquainted with the East Indian religious law, with the beliefs which he undoubtedly contacted every day, that still the great, mysterious, and wonderful beings of the sacred writings, the Vedas and the Paradise, the Puranas, still walk with men, still mingle with humanity, bearing witness to the secret art of human regeneration. But beyond this, Madame Blavatsky has some other and very interesting source of knowledge. For this that can also be no doubt. She needed at least one other stream to make possible the tremendous concept which she was able to formulate. And the only way she could have come into contact with this other stream was through a study of Northern or Mahayana Buddhism. Here she would have gone back to the great Indian sage Nagarjuna, who was to Buddhism what St. Paul was to Christianity. It was St. Paul that transformed the belief of a small sect of disagreeing Jews and transformed this whole concept into the basis of a great world religion. It was Paul who discovered the universal mystery concealed within the human circumstance. Nagarjuna did the same thing. Somewhere in the rise of Buddhism, something happened. And today there is no clear agreement as to what did happen. To the southern Buddhists, what happened was a corruption of his faith. To the northern Buddhists, however, what happened was the opening of the doors of illumination. For suddenly, Buddhism took on an appearance almost unbelievable in its influence and effect. Suddenly, a little group of very orthodox old eyes who sat alone in meditation, were turned from all worldliness to the road, and exchanged all their personal goods for an empty bowl. These all have gone out searching for the extinction of self in the non-existence of the eternal nirvana. The end of all misery being the end of self. This philosophy has been of great interest to Western people in recent years, especially in Europe and England. To the skeptic, Southern Buddhism had something of that philosophic materialism, that idealistic fatalism, which was appropriate to a disillusioned Western humankind. But in the process of its migration to Asia, Buddhism passed through the consciousness of 3 or 4 great Buddhist patriarchs. And from this wonderful album came forth the concept so utterly stupendous that it supplies the missing element to what we term the secret doctrine. Remember also that Buddhism was originally Reformed Judaism. That its real purpose was to bring the doctrine of human regeneration to those outside of the Brahmin class or caste. Therefore, it was not so immediately and obviously tied up with secrets. But Buddha himself, following the almost word for word the teachings of Jesus, when asked concerning his own doctrine, replied very simply that his birth was dedicated only to the mystery of suffering, the cause of suffering, the end of suffering, and the path that led to the end of suffering. Then his disciples pressed him further and asked him about other matters. He answered very simply, yes, I know about other matters. I can answer your question, but I'm not going to. For the simple reason that we are concerned now with the good of man, and not with the extension of a great abstract system of intellectualism. In the modern school, it is affirmed, therefore, that to the people, who are taught a certain doctrine, but to certain of his closest associates and disciples, he taught something else. And this other thing, which is also mentioned in the case of Jesus, this other teaching, had to do with the establishment of esoteric Buddhism, which was finally to become associated with the great structure of the Mahayana. Here, then, was a system that extended into the entire formation of the universe. And some of the choicest secrets of it were up to not too many years ago perpetuated to the great university of Tsongkhapa Lhasa in Tibet. The present condition of the teaching is obscure due to the present communist invasion of Tibet. But it is safe to say that the Tibetan Buddhists are already fully aware that one way to preserve your doctrine is to guard it and die with it. For if you do, you will be reborn with it in a better day. It cannot perish. Mahayana Buddhism is that group or that system of teaching combining the Tantra Yoga of India with all of its study of esoteric currents in the human body, with Mantra Yoga, which has to do with the invocation and the use of the Bija letters, the great spell letters of magic, which would be equivalent almost to the old Kabbalism, the Jews. It has to do with the contemplative universality of Vedanta. It borrows something from the esoteric practices of the Jains. And further than this, it has the secrets which were perpetuated from the original apostolic descent of the immediate arhats of Buddha himself. This was the period, therefore, described in the great Buddhistic prophecy as the beginning of the age of the great interpretations. And out of these interpretations came the underlying concept set forth in the Book of Doctrine, which in turn forms the basis upon which the commentaries are written which constitute the text of the secret doctrine. This book, according to Madame Blavatsky, was written principally in symbols. and written in a strange kind of dialect. She gives a few brief examples of the literal text and the letters that she has in attempting to bring it into intelligible form. Yet what she is saying is nothing more or less than that which is set forth in stone in the great monument of the Borobudur in Java, where the entire concept of the Mahayana, the great mystery of the cosmogony, the theology, and the anthropology are all set forth, to be finally summarized by the great unifying principle of esoteric psychology. The whole pattern began somewhere in the Trans-Himalayan. Now, if you wish to follow the tradition, and who knows how traditions begin, this esoteric system was revealed to mankind, or perhaps more correctly, locked within the consciousness of mankind before humanity existed on this earth at all. The Catholics take the same point of view, declaring that Adam and Eve were taught the esoteric doctrine by an archangel while they were still in the Garden of Eden. That this esoteric teaching, therefore, was implanted in man, and that from previous waves of life, the elders, who are truly the great sages and artists, the mysterious divine beings, the God-men, the wonderful heroes, whose dim forms stand against the dark background of the prehistorical. All these fit into a great system. For it was the Mahayana, through that magnificent symbolic work, the Lotus Sutra, that suddenly caused the veil of the sky to be rent asunder, and man to stand in the presence of the vast cosmos of consciousness. The cosmos itself, radiant with enlightened beings, an invisible order of life, outnumbering man a million or a zillion times a million to one. A life the extent of which in time and space transcend imagination. A vast mass of existence, a glorious existence, more splendid than any vision of an ancient saint, more luminous and more transcendent than the apocalyptic vision of John on Patmos. Suddenly, the obscuration of matter seemed to break apart, and through this break came forth the radiance of the eternal. And Madame Blavatsky, deriving her studies of this symbolism, bases it very largely upon the descent of the great orders of celestial beings. So we have the great cosmogony of the secret doctrine, arising from the mass of commentary, arising out of the visions of the first great Mahayana saint. Now there is one other point here that I think is somewhat valuable to us. The Mahayana did not stop writing scriptures 2,000 years ago. Although the great sage Nagarjuna was presumably about contemporary with Christ, and some Eastern believers think that he was one of the wise men who visited from the east to the crib in Bethlehem. But this does not mean that Mahayana or normal Buddhism ended as far as revelation is concerned at this time. It did not. The great saviors and patriarchs, and in the descent of the great Mahayana system, the sage and founder of Zen Dharma was the 29th. This great system kept right on producing these teachers, these patriarchs, who wrote scriptures, who wrote not only sacred books, but vast commentaries thereon, until it has been estimated that at the present time that the sacred books of Northern Buddhism consist of nearly 8,000 volumes, most of which are longer than the New Testament, and many longer than the Old Testament. That this literature is so vast that even the disciples of the great colleges at Lhasa were unable to read it all and could not ponder upon its mysteries. Therefore, out of this vast literature, all of which has to do with the mystery of eternity and time, and the bringing forth of man out of the eternity, all of these systems that we know today are based upon one or two of these books, or a short summary of several of them. And the great book of the Northern Buddhists today is, of course, the Lotus Sutra. So from this study, we suddenly come face to face with a most amazing combination of values. We suddenly come into the realization of the operation of a great hierarchy of invisible powers moving through the invisible manifestations in this world. That this hierarchy is actually the basis of nearly all theological systems concerning deities. And various forms of it, symbolism set up in it or from it, are to be found in the great classical religious systems, such as the Olympian deities of the Greeks and the ancient gods of Asgard in the Nordic mythology. Even in Central America we find it. We find it wherever men have investigated, and at one time Madame Blavatsky was in Santa Fe, New Mexico. She was also for a short time in California. But while in New Mexico, she investigated the secret rituals of the Indians, particularly the sand painters, and declared that their participation in the ancient tradition was completely valid, that they possessed this knowledge, having gained presumably intuitively from their natural psychism and from vigil, meditation, and the perpetuation of the ancient rites which we associate with the great race of the Mongolians, to which the American Indian belongs. So in the study of the secret doctrine and its comparison with the Prajnaparamita Sutra and other commentaries thereon, we are forced to assume that this work in many ways expanded the insight which Madame Blavatsky had already attained, and certainly it was used by the teachers who instructed her, or was resorted to as a framework suitable to support the system which was to be made public by the secret doctrine. I think then that from the Mahayana we must assume that Madame Blavatsky did gain a great insight. She admits herself beyond question that at Tashilampu she examined the books of Mahayana. that she also must have received some instruction from those acquainted with these books, and that the letters of the Mahatmas and other references to the teachers that were peculiarly her own indicate that they also are in some instances almost quoted from the great Mahayana Sutras. Thus we have the foundation and perhaps the premises upon which the secret doctrine is based. Premises which have been assailed but not successfully in the West, and no one in the East would even try to assail. The first being that there has existed in the world since the beginning a science of salvation which clothed itself most anciently in religion. Later took upon itself the vestments of theosophy, and must sometime form a union or a partnership also with science in order to vitalize, regenerate, and purify material knowledge. For unless material knowledge finally becomes enfolded by esoteric knowledge, man will destroy his civilization. The great problem always then is, does this esoteric knowledge actually exist? And here the debate has raged frantically, not only since the time of Madame Blavatsky, but wherever mysticism has been revealed to mankind. Unless this secret knowledge did exist, and has existed, already is a travesty. Unless we wish to assume that there never has been any knowledge but our own, then we come face to face with the wisdom of the ancient sanctuaries. And within the last 50 or 60 years it has dawned upon us that every useful art and science that we have today originated independently. That it was not a discovery by some modern thinker, but that a modern thinker took an ancient truth, clothed it or applied it or directed it into some so-called appropriate practical channel, and thereby gives us anything we want, from the combustion engine to the electric light bulb. These things are not new. They are adaptations of pioneer principles. It is now generally assumed that Numa, the first emperor of Rome, died as a result of an electric shock caused by the manufacturing of batteries. And we are also rather of the opinion at the present time that even the telephone, in a simple, basic, rudimentary way, but still functioning, is used in Egypt. Actually, all knowledge, particularly the great foundations of knowledge, mathematics, astronomy, music, medicine, art, literature, architecture, all of these were the sacred sciences of antiquity. And as we look upon the ruins in Central America, as we study the ancient monuments in the wilderness and deserts and fastnesses of China, as we examine also the great symbolic structures of India, Burma, Ceylon, Indonesia, also, as we go into the great architectural canons of Vitruvius, the builder of Rome, or study the great structures created by the Dionysian artificers in Greece and Syria 3,000 years ago, we have to face the simple fact that today many of their achievements cannot be equal. We do not know how they accomplished their purposes. But one thing we do know, that they were superlative masters of their arts. And that this mastery came long before we assumed knowledge to exist. And every day we have to push back the year of human enlightenment by another 1,000,000 years or so. Discovery commenced. So Madame Blavatsky, writing when many of these facts were not available as they are today, pointed out definitely that there has been and always will be this great descent of secret knowledge, and that the importance of it today lies particularly in the great need to build some kind of an ethical substructure beneath the great overpowering superstructure of modern materialism. Unless we discover why we have to be right, we shall never be able to survive our own mistakes. Unless we learn what right is, unless we move faith from the uncertain foundations where it now lingers to a belief in demonstrable truths, we are depriving ourselves of most of our great spiritual heritage. Ignorance of this kind is not necessary. It is not inevitable. It is simply the result of intentional blindness or reluctance to accept that which is contrary to systems of thinking which have already revealed that they are fallible. Madame Blavatsky's development of the esoteric tradition is in perfect harmony with the Mahayana ethical system. Mahayana has a unique place among the religions of the world in the fact that it has virtually no orthodoxy. Mahayana is not a system which is dedicated only to a revelation made 2,600 years ago in India and amplified 2,000 years ago in Northern Asia. Mahayana is regarded as a belief ever-growing, a great tree that can send forth new branches. And Mahayana is the only religion that accepts it as inevitable, that religions must evolve. So this is very, very important. Religions are not honorable because they are completely steadfast. They have to grow. Therefore, any generation can produce a new saint who can produce a new faith out of the same root. It is perfectly possible to interpret Mahayana in 100,000 ways, and you will still bring no censure upon yourself. The only thing that is necessary to maintain the integrity is that the interpretation, no matter what it is, must stand firmly upon the foundation of the great law of cause and effect. This is the only thing that is utterly required. Whatever it is, whatever you build, whatever you conceive, however you interpret it, whatever language or symbolism you put it in, it must be ethically and honestly true to the principles of truth. It must be honorable. It must be honest. It must be sincere. It must be lawful. And it must require man to save himself. From here on, it is up to the individual to find the ways of accomplishing these ends. Now, I think one of the ways in which we can observe the motion of Mahayana and the way in which it did develop its incredible array of potential is in the march of this faith across Asia in the last 19th century. beginning in the highlands of the Himalaya. This great faith moved eastward and southward. By this time, Buddhism was comparatively extinct in India. That is, so far as its exoteric forms were concerned. It had again vanished into the great structure of Hinduism. But it had not failed to leave its indelible impress upon Hinduism, where it still lingers even today. The following on are moving out into the great deserts, moved inevitably and irresistibly toward China. It moved along the great caravan routes. It established its great monasteries, its libraries, and carved the wonderful statuary in the grottos of its ancient convent. Its face cliffs with images of the enlightened one, and its monks and priests journeyed on, traveling in almost every direction, which carried them further and further into the areas of Eastern Asia. The great stream went downward into Java and Indonesia. It flowed into China and Korea. It passed along the great caravan routes of Turkestan. It crossed a part of what is now Russia. It also finally penetrated Tibet and Nepal. And everywhere it went, something happened. There was never a force exactly like it in the history of human experience. For wherever it went, nations blossomed like a rose. Wherever it went, peace, security, intelligence, education, morality, and ethics began to develop. It went to nations that were cannibalistic and converted them, not only away from cannibalism, but to become vegetarians. It went into every area where men had a civilization and touched this civilization with a magic wand. And out of its great motion eastward, there rose from the mysterious splendor of the unrolled pageantry of the Lotus Sutra, the magnificent art stage, painting, sculpturing. It gave us printing. It gave us one great discovery after another. It gave us our first hospitals, our first almshouses. It was the first to pass laws for the protection of the old and the needy. It gave guardianship to children who were orphaned. It established hospitals for men and animals. Everywhere it went, it did something that had never happened before in the history of the world. It brought a transcendent dedication to something that was sublime, something invisible. And it dedicated all these people to a desperate effort to trace invisible things, the splendor of this invisible pattern. And we find it reaching through China in the great schools of Buddhism. We find it touching onto the mainland and then skipping across to the island of Japan, where Zen and Shingon and Tendai, where there is the Jodo sect and the Honganjis and the Nichiren and the ancient beliefs produced and flowered into a great artistry, magnificent fabrics, the tea ceremony, literature, flower arrangement, wonderful gardens, magnificent buildings with their pitched roofs, all kinds of beauty. Beauty which has become proverbial to us, which we've come to expect. And with this, a powerful introspection. There are today, of course, in Japan, two sects that are almost exactly the equivalent of the old Trans-Himalayan Charashakra school of the Yogacarya persuasion. And that is the Tendai and the Shingon. Here are the secret teachings again. The rituals given as they were at Delphi and in Egypt or at Lysus or in Samothrace nearly 3,000 years ago. Here disciples are initiated with the same trials that we read about, but were not believed to have existed in this world for 2,000 years. The same rites, the same rituals, the same mysterious mantras and mudras, the same as desperate effort to unite man's consciousness with the infinite life of this. Here we have all of the meditation systems, the study of the chakras of the spine, the studies of breath and the yoga, bound together in a very deep and strange, abstruse religious pattern, represented in art by the great mandala, for symbolical pictures of the esoteric patterns of existence. Qigong and Tendai are an expression of the same mystery that moved out across the face of Asia. In their paintings and symbols, in their ancient scrolls and writings, are the same symbols and the same elements that were found in the scrolls of Doctrine. Here we have the imagery brought from Tibet. Here we have the ancient teachings of Padmasambhava and Sada and Tsongkhapa, living today as they. Still followed in the sanctuaries and cloistered groves of the ancient mountains. Here we have again the pagodas of the Iron Tower, where Nagarjuna received the secret doctrine from the guardian keepers, the Nagas or the Serpent Kings. It is all still alive. It isn't something that belongs to other ages. There is no doubt whatever in my mind that Madame Blavatsky found alive in her day. It had to have been, or it could not be alive now. She found, therefore, in her searching, a religion so strangely universal, yet so incredibly scientific, that it was the final reconciliation of these two great systems of knowledge. And she was convinced that this was the eternal teaching. This was the old wisdom which Muhammad prayed might be revealed to him as he fasted and meditated in the cavern of Mount Hira, that he might know the primitive religion of mankind, the eternal faith, the faith that is buried in all other faiths, just as the life of the universe is buried in all forms, the faith that must come forth out of its grave, just as sure as the life in man must come out of the bodies which now obscure it. This primordial, eternal pattern of knowledge, that we wish to assume that it was originally a great psychological system, which, whether it was wrought as an archetype in the consciousness of man when he was fashioned, whether truly it is the heart doctrine, as the Mahayana is called, in which Buddha initiated his disciples in the mystic or mysterious stepped upon a cave or cabin, the house of the seven rooms, the heart. Whatever we wish to assume, the secret doctrine as propounded by H.P. Blavatsky is dedicated to the existence of this esoteric doctrine that has been served and guarded and perpetuated since the beginning of man's existence, and before that was preserved in superior regions for the glory of angels and for the wisdom of the gods themselves. That all of this great pattern, and it has been set forth, in part at least, in such writings as the Sefer Zohar, the Book of Splendors, the Sefer Yetzirah, the Book of the Formations, the Sefer Apocalypse, the book of the Revelations. These writings tell something of it. But what religion never achieved after it was finally separated from the temple mysteries was this reconciliation of all knowledge in the production of the perfect science. This was the alchemical mystery. This was the Hermetic theory. It is this that has been intimated, suggested, implied, everywhere in the world. Madame Blavatsky found it expounded as a living thing in northeastern Asia. And here she resolved to form these commentaries to prove not only that the Eastern wisdom served the East, but that so far as modern Western knowledge was correct, it supported the esoteric tradition. And where it did not support the esoteric tradition, there was grave probability that the Western knowledge was wrong. And many things which he said concerning this in the 80s and early 90s have come to pass. We have been forced to revise a great many of our opinions on these matters. We cannot, probably at this time, attempt to restore the original texts that she used in Asia. They are referred to, they probably exist and are known. Documentary evidence has been found and is available, proving conclusively Madame Blavatsky's presence at Tachilampu as the guest of the Panchang line. Also evidence is coming to light constantly to support various statements she made concerning the sources of her esoteric information. In all parts of Asia, even today, there is a general belief in senan or saints. These senan are the Lohan of Buddhism, the Arhats of India. They are the Rekan of the Japanese Buddhists. They are the wandering saints who never die. They are the ones who are appointed by Gautama Buddha to remain in the world as the teachers of mankind until the advent of the Maitreya Buddha. Therefore, he is sometimes represented accompanied by them. These are the mysterious sages of the Jade Mountains of China and Korea, the Diamond Mountains of Korea particularly. These are the mysterious Taoist genii, the sages of supernatural power who perform the same miracles that were credited to the apostles of Christ and to the wonder workers of other ancient religions. These also are the great yogins of India, the rishis. These are the ones that everywhere among ancient peoples are known to have existed. They are also found in Europe in the alchemical tradition, the chief and most important of them being Arias Atista, the sage who must walk the earth until the second coming of Christ, in order that the arts and mysteries might not die. Everywhere in legendary we have it. In the Chinese annals there are many accounts of these sages attending the persons of emperors, coming down from their mysterious hiding places to mingle with men. Everywhere in the East, the existence of these sages is taken for granted even now, and there are records of the appearance of these mysterious beings down to the middle of the 19th century. Madame Blavatsky's Mahatma, about which there has been perhaps more controversy than on any other aspect of her teaching. This teaching, this concept is of no amazement anywhere in Asia. It is no amazement among the American Indians, because these people were perfectly aware of the ones who lived in two worlds, who stood with one foot upon the earth and the other in heaven, who came in the answer to prayer, who appeared in vision, who sent their minds across the world. Discussions of these beings and what they have done have been found in Tibet in comparatively recent years. Sir Francis Young husband found them there when he went to Tibet in 1903. The actual presence of these people is assumed, and disciples within the last 25 or 30 years report the same thing. Namely, that such beings do exist. And according to a fairly well authenticated report, two of these teachers actually lived for a time in New York City. We can say what we want to, we cannot objectively produce them at any time to answer the doubts or skepticisms of unbelievers or to act the part of the Lord in the presence of the doubting Thomas. But in Asia, there is no doubt. All of the system of gurus is based upon this. For these gurus are simply the agents of the great teachers. All yoga is based upon this. For in all these systems, the final instruction has to be given not by the more common teachers visible in the world, but by preparing the disciple to depart to the abode of the great teachers, who alone can bestow the greater mysteries. And in a recent publication of the Theosophical Society on the life of Damodar, this young man is advanced as an example of one who was called into the highlands of Central North Asia in order to receive further instruction when he could go no longer or to proceed no further in his ordinary search for knowledge. But there is no question about this. Now, we may say that there is a question. We may say that, as the Shingon says, that Kobodaishi is not sleeping in his tomb at Koresan, simply waiting to awaken again with the coming of the Maitreya. We may not believe it when they say that every year they change his garments, although he's supposed to have been dead for nearly 1,200 years. And they have to change his garments, because each year they are worn out. To these people, the great sage is not only still alive, but has the power to project himself at his own will. Everywhere among these people, such accounts persist. And there is a very interesting account relating to the Rajput princes of the state of Jaipur in India. Jaipur being, of course, the state to which one of the Mahatmas related to the production of the secret doctrine is said to have come from, that he was a prince of Jaipur. In Jaipur, there has been a mysterious account for years, for centuries, of the esoteric background of the princes of the families of Rajputana. The Rajas and Maharajas of Jaipur have been considered magicians, wonder-workers. Men who go to sleep in their graves and wake up 1,000 years later and run the nation again. Well, this is all present, respectively. Some we don't want to even dare to believe, because it would be so inconsistent with our acceptance. And Madame Blavatsky was first perfectly aware of this problem herself. and did not wish at any time to build her philosophy primarily upon any form of miraculous circumstance. He did not want her followers to develop a group of hallucinations and believe that they were wandering around with Mahatmas. Nothing was further from her mind. But they were part of her own story, and as such, she rightly included them. But the main purpose behind this inclusion is simply to point out that the wisdom system has endured, that the mysterious society of the White Lotus has not died, that Northern Buddhism's invisible government of the earth has not died. And whether the Western man is aware of it, or cares, or is concerned about it or not, that however, if we think carefully, it better be true. There had better be a plan somewhere. There had better be some pattern or seed which man cannot outwit. There had better be a justice that he cannot destroy. There had better be a purpose, for he is unable to find one for himself. Furthermore, there had better be answers to some of the great questions of our time. For nearly every line of knowledge that we possess today is going into bankruptcy for lack of further answers. We've gone as far as we could. But we need the mystery of the actual Nayori, the Buddha of infinite healing. We need the secret of health. And in one way or another, the secret of health is tied into the whole great picture of man's redemption. We better find the secret of peace. This all lies in the mysteries of the Northern Doctrine. We had better see evidence in this world of a great plan beyond our own, as suggested by the radiant lights hovering over the mysterious island city of Shambhala. We had better hope that the Lord might say there will come, as in the banners of Mongolia we find his image with one foot upon the earth, to signify that he shall come forth and keep the promise of the Krishna of the Bhagavad Gita. There had better be this mysterious underlying wisdom. And it is very interesting that while we cannot all understand these things, and perhaps very few of us can ever understand much about it, that there is a tremendous moral force behind the simple conviction that there are answers, and that the great teachers of mankind have had the answers, and that they have also understood each other, and that beneath the surface of knowledge as we know it is the secret science of salvation. This science, which has always been regarded as hidden behind the great snow mountains of the north. The wonderful world of truth that lies beyond the sorrows of mankind. The wonderful presence that comes to us inwardly and brings us the eternal. If this is not merely a series of vagrant happenings, but is tied together in a great pattern, then this fact, as set forth in the secret doctrine, perhaps constitutes the basic premise of Madame Blavatsky's work. Well, our time is up for this evening, so we'll see where we can go.